Hey everyone, today we're going to be making flambe, and for flambe we're going to be making bananas Foster. So I've got all my mise en place set up here. I've got my butter, my brown sugar, my banana, heavy cream, cinnamon, and a little bit of spiced rum. So I'm going to start by actually putting this butter right in my pan and melting it. This is going to be a little bit different for me today because I'm using the electric stove. Usually I would use a gas stove for it, so we'll just have to see how it goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to melt this butter, and then we're going to add our brown sugar and our bananas, and we're going to basically saute the bananas a little bit in the brown sugar and butter mixture. Now, when you do flambe, usually you do this in the dining room in what's called tableside. And the reason that people like to do this kind of thing tableside is that because it looks really cool when you set something on fire, and then you can have your accoutrements right there on the cart in which you can serve it right to the customer. Go. Now, Bananas Foster was started in the 1950s in a restaurant in New Orleans, and tableside was part of their service. A lot of steakhouses back in the 50s and 60s did a lot with tableside stuff. So crepe Suzette, Bananas Foster, Cherries Jubilee. All right, so I'm going to go ahead to that mixture, and I'm going to add my banana. I like to slice it on the bias so it has a prettier presentation. And as that brown sugar is melting, it's going to cook the bananas a little bit. So obviously I like to use a little bit of an underripe banana. You don't want to use a perfectly ripe banana because it'll go mushy really quickly. This is especially true if you're going to be doing this for a buffet style presentation, and you're going to have some pre-made a little bit. Okay, so the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding my rum. Now, if I had a gas stove, I would be using the flame from the gas stove to ignite it, but I have my torch, so we're going to do that. So now I'm going to actually remove this from the heat as I add it. It's going to create some volatile vapors for this flambe, and it's going to light on fire. Now you want to make sure you're always doing this in a controlled environment, and those alcohol vapors will eventually cook out. Okay? You always want to make sure your flame is completely out before adding any cinnamon, because cinnamon itself is flammable. So if you end up with any high volatile oil cinnamon in there, you will have a chance at creating extra sparks, which you don't necessarily want. So now I added a little bit of heavy cream. That's going to make this almost like somewhere between butterscotch and a caramel sauce. I'm going to add a dash of cinnamon. And I'm just going to let that reduce a little bit. Okay, and so my next step is going to be plating this up over some vanilla ice cream. Okay, so here I am with my vanilla ice cream ready to go, and my Bananas Foster sauce. So basically, I'm just going to spoon that over the top. And there you go, Bananas Foster. Pretty simple to do, pretty impressive for a showy dessert, and kind of classic, kind of retro, but it's important that you should know how to do this if you're going to be a pastry chef somewhere, because you may be asked to be doing some sort of thing in a dining room that would look impressive to the guests, and it's fairly straightforward and easy to do.